Hello dear students, I am Professor Priya Kulkarni from Civil Engineering Department of Parvatibai Genba, Mose College of Engineering, Wagholi, Pune. Here we'll discuss about the construction of post-tension slabs. Okay, we have seen the construction and design of normal reinforced concrete slabs by using IS code 456 2012. Okay, but here we will learn and we will discuss some points regarding the design of pre-stressed concrete, pre-tensioned and post-tension slabs. Okay, and here we'll study about one way type of slab and two way type of slab. Okay, the pre-stressed concrete slab systems are ideally suited for floor and roof construction of industrial buildings. Okay, where live loads to be supported are of higher order and uninterrupted floor space is desirable, for which reason longer spans between supporting elements are required. Okay, means just remember in short that is where we require large span slabs, and where we require uninterrupted floor space. Means we don't need a larger columns in between. Okay, as in case of normal reinforced concrete. Okay, then in that cases we will go for pre-stressed concrete floor slabs or roof slabs. Okay, now before starting the actual topic we'll go through what is the history, what is definition and application and construction process and advantages of pre-stressed concrete. So in this session we'll learn or we'll discuss about these 4 points, and then we'll go for the design of the pre-stressed concrete floor slabs. Okay, and here we will use IS 456 for the design purpose. Okay, IS 456 also IS 1343. Now we'll go for designing, we'll go in parallel way, we'll use the IS codes, and then we'll design one section that is suitable for the given loads. Okay, uh, what from where these post tension slabs have incurred, or from where they have came in actual play. The post tension concrete slabs were actually developed in 1930 by a French man who realized that placing concrete under compression greatly increased its strength. After World War II, post-tension concrete slab became a popular building method because of steel shortage and the need to replace damaged and bombed out bridges. Okay, what is steel shortage means we have to use a we have or we are requiring a minimum amount of steel. Just remember the steel reinforcement that we provide in RCC slab. Okay, we'll provide mesh, we'll provide anchorage bars, we'll provide development length, and for two-way slabs we provide extra steel to resist the torsion. Okay, just remember that image, or just recall those things. We provide that torsion 50% of the reinforcement at the each corner. Okay, so we just bombard with the steel to that normal RCC slab. Okay, but in case of this pre-stressed concrete slabs we provide a required amount or moderate amount of steel. Okay, but that steel is of high strength. Okay, there will normal tor steel. Okay, Fe 415 or Fe 500 grade of steel, but here we will use higher or larger grade steel, and also larger grade of concrete, higher grade of concrete, and that's why it will become more comfortable to design and more comfortable to construct. Okay, and that's why it gives more area for the access. Then the design and use of this method wanted until mid 1916. Then much utilization was in the area of ground supported slabs for warehouse, apartment and residential floors. Okay, as I have told you, where it required larger slabs, and those slabs are supported with the columns. Okay, and we don't require much congestion of beams and much congestion of steel reinforcement, then in that case we'll go for designing, or we'll go for the construction of pre-stressed concrete slab. We know that what is the post tension, the process of introducing the internal forces or stress into the concrete or masonry element during the construction process in order to counteract the external load applied. Okay, and that external load is known as service load. Okay, so post tension we will consider. Here we'll design with both the type of slab, at post tension also and pre-tension also, and then we'll find out which one is better or which one is more uh, suitable to use according to economical point, and according to design point, and according to ease in construction point. Okay. A post-tension slab is a reinforced concrete slab supported directly by concrete columns without use of beams. This is very important. Just take a note of it, that we will not use beams to support the slab. Okay, the slab is directly supported on the column. Okay, the post-tension slab cables placed inside the plastic duct or sleeves are positioned uh, in the forms where concrete is placed. Okay, as we know, we provide a cable ducts, and that ducts in that duct will place the concrete. Okay, the construction of post tension slab on grade is very similar to using reinforcing steel, except for the tensioning step. Now this is the main slide, just take a note of it. A post tension slab can contain less concrete, that is 20 to 30%. Okay, post tension slab reinforcement slab has less reinforcement and less complicated rebar shaping than conventional concrete slab. Also we will shape our bars, like we'll bend it with the 45-degree or 60-degree, and then we'll place according to particular distance of L by 5 or L by 6 from the end. Okay, so here there is not such a type of complexity. We will shape our bars, but in a simpler way. Okay, not with the 45-degree and likewise. And here we'll get more time to uh, go for a quality construction. Okay, the thickness of post tension slab is 100 mm to 150 mm, and conventional slab is 120 to 200 mm. Okay, this is also main point of difference, where the thickness of slab is less as compared to conventional RCC slab. Under the full service load, deflection less than 250 or 40 mm, whichever is smaller. Okay, so it will allow for a deflection of 40 mm, or maximum load deflection less than 250 mm, whichever is smaller. Possible to achieve 70% of specified concrete strength within a day or 2 day by using high strength concrete. Okay, so here in case of post tension slab, we can achieve 70% of the specified or calculated concrete strength in that particular day or after 2 days using high strength concrete. To obtain maximum benefit from post tension slab, it is recommended that they are incorporated into the building structure early design stage. Then where the post tension slabs are used: residential buildings, in commercial buildings, shopping malls, hospitals, schools, stadium, parks, and transfer structure. Transfer structure means where that jetties, the docks and harbor in surrounding the sea place where the ships are coming and going. on the harbor. Okay, so in that place also we'll use the pre-stressed concrete floor slab or a slab. Floor slab means we'll use it as a floor, and a normal slab or roof slab is the topmost slab. Okay, then what are the steps? First we'll design the slab, then we'll layout means we'll, according to dimension, we'll keep the steel in the position. Layout, then installation of strands, we install the strands first. Strands means the steel reinforcement that we are using here. And the duct, installation of strands and duct. Okay, then concreting, we'll do concreting. Then stressing, we'll apply a selected or calculated amount of pre-stress or post-tensioning stress. Okay, and then we'll cut the tendons or strands, and then we will grout. What will grout? The duct place. Okay, there is a gap between that duct and the strands or steel reinforcement or tendons. Okay, so we will fill that gap with the help of grouting. Okay, so this is the total procedure from design to grouting, that is end part. Okay, just remember these steps. First we'll design, then we'll make a layout of it, then we'll install strands and ducts, then concreting, then we'll apply a calculated amount of stress, then we'll go for a grouting. Design and layout of post tension slab. Okay, we have seen these steps. Now we'll go in the detail. So design is the detailing system and equipment used, layout plan. Installation of strand means we'll go for a particular type or calculated amount of diameter tendons or strands, and then we'll put in the place. Okay, we will make all the things in that particular place, and then we'll do the concreting. Okay, so this is the strand installation. So what are the this calculated space between two ducts or between two uh, reinforced bar? We'll calculate it accordingly, and we'll make a layout of it. Okay, so this is the layout, and this is the strand installation procedure. Okay, yes. Okay, so whatever the white part you are seeing here is the ducts. These are the ducts, and in between these ducts we provide the strands. Okay, in between the ducts we provide the strands or tendons or cables. Okay, then these are the some steps that we have seen here. Okay, these are in detail. So design, layout, installation of strands and ducts, concreting and pre-stressing and grouting. So these are the steps, and those are explained here in detail. So how do we do the stressing with the help of a jack? Okay, so these are the jacks, and here we apply the calculated amount of pre-stress. This is live anchorage. We provide the anchorages in their proper position. Then this is dead anchorage. What is live and dead? Live means with the help of machine, or and dead means we'll provide with the help manually. Okay, and Dutch chair means what? We know the cover. We provide 40 mm cover for column, 50 mm cover for footing, 10 sorry likewise that cover we leave. Okay, we provide cover for the uh, to avoid the rusting of the steel reinforcement. Okay, and to make the perfect bond between steel and concrete. But here in case of pre-stress members, we provide this type of Dutch chairs. So these are the supports. Okay, we cannot put this cables, or we cannot put these ducts directly lay down on the floor. Okay, we can't do it because uh, when we apply concrete, it will stick to that particular formwork. Okay, to avoid this thing, we provide this Dutch chair. That means we provide a particular amount of concrete cover with the help of Dutch chair. This cover uh, provision is done with the help of Dutch chair. Then we'll go for a concreting. So this is a huge work. Okay, so we required lot of precise, or will require lot of quality construction here in case of pre-stressed concrete. Okay, so the basic conditions are: the surface should be free from debris and other matter, the concrete should be poured, monitor concreting process to ensure damage. Okay, damage to arrangement of strands, Dutch chair and tendon. Okay, so by using this by using this assembly, it can vibrate, or it can dispose or make a disposition. Okay, it can change the positions of the strands, or it can minor disposition. So we have to monitor those things, and we have to protect, or we have to make the same layout that we have designed. In the stressing, we know we provide the wedges. Sorry, this slide is quite disturbed here. In the PC it is okay, but in mobile it got some word disturbed. Okay, some letters are out of the boundary. Okay, so we know the stressing. Okay, the concrete attains sufficient strength after the uh, tendons are cut. Okay, so initial stress should be applied to induce anti-cracks forces in concrete, typically 48 to 72 hours after pouring and when concrete reaches the required design strength. Okay, so these are the stressing part. Okay, like this we design. Okay, so this is a stress tendon bar. Measure extended length of tendon, measure extended length of tendon, and that extended length will cut and will fill the grout, uh, or will fill that duct with a mortar, means grouting. Okay, this is the grouting. We'll do grouting with the help of grouting machine or grouting gun, we call it as. Then the tests are carried out on the ground, that is ground fluidity. Wick test measure bleed level and volume change. Strength test grout specimen prepared, and self pack pressure test. These are the various tests that are to be performed on the grout. As we check the concrete, okay, on the side also, or in the lab also, then likewise we'll check the grout also. Okay, this is grout fluidity. Okay, this is grout fluidity test that can be performed at the site. This is the Wick measure test. So grout is allowed to fall from some height, or it will check like the um, flowy nature. Okay, it is workable or not. Likewise, and this is sulfate pressure test. These tests are not here to study. Okay, so we'll just for our knowledge we are referring this. Okay, so what are the background that we require for the design? Okay, what are the actual site conditions that we are studying, or what are the actual site tests that are to be performed on the ground we are studying, just for our information. Strength test we do with the help of compressive test instrument, that is sample. For this we prepare one particular sample. We prepare cubes, concrete cubes, and then we'll go for uh, compressive strength test and tensile strength test. Likewise we'll perform a strength test on particular blocks. So what are the advantages of post tension block slabs, that we are using this higher grade of steel and concrete? So there are the lot of advantages. So as you can see the span of the slab. Okay, this is very huge span of the slab, and it is directly supported on the column. There are no any beams are provided here. Okay, as you can see here. Okay, there are no any beams. Okay, so lighter structure and extra vertical means we get high, somewhat uh, extra room height for the uh, feasibility. Okay, so here this conventional concrete slab, so beam comes in between uh, the slab. This is the beam free, that is post tension slab. Okay, there is not any beam, so we will get the extra vertical height. Greater feasibility means load carried by column only. Okay, there is not any intermediate beam. Okay, so load of slab carried by beam, and then load of beam carried by column. Okay, so in that intermediate beam part is not there. Okay, enhance the deflection control, allows architect to introduce partition walls anywhere required. This allows owner to change the size of room layout. Okay, easy to maintenance, greater crack resistant, durable and low maintenance finished. Okay, just see this diagram, this picture. Okay, okay, it is very convenient, and it is very aesthetical to view, and it is not that much complex. Okay, so these are the advantages of post tension slabs. Also reduced cost means not that much way. Okay, we are going to use higher grade of concrete and steel, so this point comes with a few percentage. Then smaller carbon footprint, requirement of concrete compared to normal slab to less emission of CO2 in atmosphere. Okay, so this is one of the advantage, that is smaller carbon footprint. Okay, so these are the basic or background that we require for the design of pre-stress or post tension concrete slabs. Okay, and again these are divided into two uh, types, that is one way and two way. So we will study this part in the next lecture. Okay, thank you.